Hey, it's another beautiful evening. How are you doing? I hope you had a great day. Welcome to Man Up. This is the, what do you call those things? It's where men get together and we have interesting conversations on things that affect us as men, because for so long it has been said that men don't talk. Nowadays we talk on Man Up. Last week we kicked off a series of conversations talking about understanding anger in men, and we want to pick up from where we left off last week, because now that we have understood anger issues in men, what are the solutions? Because if we don't give each other solutions, I don't think we are helping one another. So tonight we are focusing on anger management. Mwanaume, kama unajua uko na hasira, this is the show for you, because we need to find solutions. I've got the same guests I was hosting last week. By the way, disclaimer, if you did not watch the episode last week, I would encourage you to find it and watch it. You can find it on our YouTube channel, or the best option is for you to download the Family Media app, because once you download the app, then you'll be able to find recordings of shows like this. It's good for you to watch the first episode to understand anger issues in men and where they come from, and then tonight we look at solutions. I've got psychologist Lambert Oigara. Lambert, how are you doing?
I'm good, I'm good.
Part 2 ndio hii.
Asante sana.
Karibu sana.
Kunikaribisha.
Amen. I also have founder of Awakening Minds, Victor Salamba. Victor, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Awesome.
Yes.
Let's just pick it from where we left off last week. Because ule akuona last week, nimemwambia mahali atapata the conversation for last week. And tonight I want us to focus more on anger management. How do we manage anger as men? But before we even manage it, what are some of the telltale signs that can tell me as a man that my anger issues are way out there? I need to start thinking of doing something about them.
I think the first thing we look at is capacity. I like starting from a place of capacity.
Capacity ndio nini?
You know, we have got 3 cups here.
Yes.
And more often than not, as a man, people want to drink from you. Your wife, your children, you know, all these things. And the moment that I feel that there is a demand on what I have, and I don't have the capacity to give it, how do you know? Your kids want to talk to you and you push them away. You feel like your wife wants a conversation and you're quickly being irritated by it. You're thinking, no, I don't want to talk to anyone now. It means that they want to drink from you and you don't have that capacity. More often than not, anger is one of the first things that begins to rob us of emotional capacity as men. That's normally the first thing, because naturally we have to be very deliberate in how we do things, how we express ourselves. So if I find that my wife is asking me for something and I feel like, I don't want to see her today. If I find that, you know, I'm snapping at the children, I'm now beginning to really snap, then the demand on my life, I no longer have the output for it. And that's part of this. To me personally, I think that's one of the first telltale signs that I need to slow down. I need now to start checking and realizing where is the issue coming from. And also I think wives should be very keen as well, you know, mothers as well, you know, to note very quickly that why is this person becoming a bit too irritable now? They don't want to be disturbed. There must be something.
What's another thing we need to look out for?
I think, like you're saying, I mean, one thing I would say is patterns. Patterns in how you are now not responding but reacting to situations, and how you are misconstruing perhaps these situations in your mind, your thoughts, probably very negative. You're having what we call distortions in your thinking. You're thinking of the worst, or a black or white kind of thinking, or you are jumping into conclusions. A small issue, you've blown it up, you know, and now it is also affecting you emotionally. So you find that you're always exhausted, emotionally overwhelmed, you are very irritable, you know, you probably even start becoming impulsive. Unakuja nyumbani, badala before you used to relax, but you feel like these people are just irritating you, and you walk out. And then when you walk out, you probably go to your nearest bar on a Monday. Not even Friday, Monday. Then now Tuesday, Wednesday, the pattern I'm talking about. And definitely people around you start making remarks or comments. Hey, Lambert squeezy, hey, mbali sana, hey, squeezy yuko na short fuse. What is happening? And you know, sadly, sometimes in society, people don't tell you.
Oh,
They
yeah.
start speaking
Oh, yeah.
amongst
They just
themselves.
speak, yes.
They're whispering.
Uchekilamba siku hizi vile anakuwaga.
Hivyo. Then you see, of course, you already know something is wrong with you and it's building up and so forth and so on. And eventually now, your behavior. So all these examples again are behaviors. So definitely, those are some of the things that would be telltale signs that you need to look out for.
Is there a difference between that and sometimes just the normal stress of life? Because being a man is hard. Men, it is hard. There's so much demand and expectations that are put on you, and sometimes you get a bit overwhelmed with the stress of life, or something shifted, like when COVID hit, a lot shifted in the lives of men, losing their jobs. Even women lost their jobs, but since we're talking about men, I'm focusing more on men. You know, and that shift just brings you to a place where you're stressed because you don't have answers. So is there a difference between that and something that can be said, this one is an anger issue?
I think, yes, I think something that I think Lambert will agree with me. There's a very thin line between stress and anger. It's a very thin line. And more often than not, it is crossed. Because if I'm stressed, then if that stress remains for a while, it spills over and becomes, I'm angry because I'm stressed. You know, but I can be stressed and not be angry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So more often than not is that people tend to cross that line, because as life is happening, and that's the mistake also us men make, is the expectations we put on ourselves. We expect so much from ourselves.
Yeah.
We think we are Superman also. You know, we think that, you know, we don't break.
And we.
You know, we think we are invincible and we live forever. You know, I mean, if you look at the things that we tend to do, is that we think that we live forever. Men don't think that they'll die. You know, men naturally think that they live forever. Men think that they are strong enough. So you'll find that we will gather. I won't even ask you. I won't ask you how is the family going. I won't ask you how are things going, because I expect you to be Superman. You expect me to be Superman. So let's go save the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have to come to the place as men and think, I'm expecting too much from myself, and this stress is building. And as it is building, I must think that there are structures and people next to me that are already there who can help me deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I've had a man in the office who broke down and cried. And in the same what he was going through, the wife looked at him and said, you would have just said that.
Yeah, the wife had no idea.
Yeah, you would have just said that, you know, I thought actually that you were okay. I never knew that you're reaching burning point, and I'm adding things on you. If I knew, I would have helped you manage this. So you see that expectation. We think that we're Superman, and we are not.
Allow me to say something, because it's really bothering me. This issue of Superman or Superwoman or Supermother or Superfather. You know, actually, we need to actually come to a point of saying, in order for us to appreciate ourselves and to be more in control of our lives, we have the right not to be all the above. Because if we look at these comic books, I mean these cartoons, they teach us that these people who are Supermen and Superwoman, they have certain powers that are beyond
the
natural powers. And sometimes you find that we are socialized like that from when you are very young. You say, I want to be Superman or Superwoman. And even your mom, perhaps she's Superwoman. She's your dad. So you struggle along the way. And I want to connect this back to the point of the stress and anger. You know? And why I was even talking about patterns is because we need to come to a point of realizing that we have a bandwidth. And just like the way you take a rubber band and stretch it, like up, back and forth, it will reach a point when it will start wearing out. And what will finally happen? It will snap.
It will snap.
So if you're always snapping, or like this light that is really burning us faces, and then it goes off, it keeps going off, there's disruption. There's chaos. And that is the point we have to be realistic and appreciate that matters mental health cannot only be managed at home and in church. You need now professional help. You need to get a professional who can actually assess you and find out, have you reached a point of no return where you might need a different kind of intervention, which includes talk therapy alone sometimes. Many a times you find that people just need someone to talk to, or a combination of talk therapy and intervention of treatment using medication.
Still on that whole issue of professionals, you know, attaching that to the Superman theory. Yeah, Iron Man and Hulk and Avengers and all that. How then do we, because there's a perception, first of all, that seeing a professional is expensive, and then seeing a professional because of mental health, emotional things as a man, it's making me look so weak. Wacha tu ning'ang'ane kisabuni. Kama ni mbaya, kwani iko nini? So how do we break that so that more men are comfortable enough to sit down with a, with a professional to air out their issues and to find the help they need?
You see, we have to break it down to small pieces. And the first problem we have, and the thing that I've seen even whenever I have couples coming in and men coming in, is already men have a preset mind because of what they have had. Many men think that if they're going to ask for some form of help, that's a form of
weakness.
Yeah, we have not learned that crying for help is wisdom. It's actual wisdom to say that, I've reached this point, I need people to move me here.
Yeah.
We need to break down this conversation to the most informal of places.
Okay.
It is to break down that men have to be bold enough to tell each other the truth. To tell your friend, listen, you're telling me these things, I'm listening to you, thank you for telling me, but understand this, I'm not a professional. But there's a guy I know. Yeah. Can you go see this guy? Secondly, also, and I'd like to say also that also men are very choosy about where they go for therapy.
Yes.
Men are very choosy.
Yes.
And I'll say this boldly, that not every professional has got the skill set to speak to men. That's very important as well. Because there are men who will say, you know what, I went to the, and I'll never go back there again.
Yeah.
So it's good to understand that this guy, when he's walking into this place, how is he being received? There's a language for men that is very different. Yeah, because men can easily pull out of a therapy session. He'll talk for 3 minutes and lock, and realize here there's nothing we're going to do here.
Oh, really?
Going to the pub. But I think informally, let's have this discussion. Let men talk about this where they go to, in basketball court, at the gym, wherever. That is good you're sharing, but Nani, he just gets
I know a guy
there.
called Lambert.
Yeah, just go there. Just go for one session.
I'm just wondering, this whole issue of the language of men in therapy rooms, is it something you've experienced as well?
No, I agree. Everything he has said,
Yes.
I agree with him 100%. One, the fact that many a times men are brought to therapy and without really unwillingly. Secondly, the fact that you find that we don't really understand how to approach men when it comes to therapy, because there is the how. And if we learn the secret of the how to deal with men when they come for therapy, and every time a man walks into my office, I thank them. Why? It's because over the past 3-5 years, I started seeing a change in practice, in my practice. The number of men started shooting up just like that. Started with the young guys, around 20s, 25, 30-year-olds. This number started going up. And now we are seeing people almost our age mates, late 30s, 40s, who are coming for therapy. And they are not being pushed.
They're coming on their own.
They're coming willingly and say, Lambert, I think I have a problem here. And when you do an assessment, yes, actually, they're able to appreciate, yes, professional, you've done an assessment, and I agree with you, or I disagree with you, and we go back to the drawing board. Ukianza kuambia wanaume ati wewe uko na shida, and then you're pointing fingers, my friend.
Yes.
You lose it. You'll just talk to yourself.
So as men, we've learned over the years, because we also men partly to cope, to help men, but also there are ladies out here who are very good in actually also the language of how to actually assist men to get to that level, expressing themselves.
Wow, this is interesting. Shortly we'll talk about how are there things men can do to manage this anger, so that it doesn't blow out of proportion. Because like we said last week, everybody gets angry. But how are there techniques, are there things we can do as men that can help us to be able to manage and to control that anger? You're watching Man Up. We are talking about anger management, the second part of a series we began last week. As I said earlier, if you didn't watch part 1, check out Family Media's YouTube channel or download the Family Media app from the Google Store. Wanaume, dakika moja. Get a glass of water or a glass of juice and come back as we look at things we can do to ensure that we manage this anger. Keep it Family TV.
Tomorrow on Youth on the Move.
When I find home.
We bring you a young man twisting words into magical splendor. and an organization with a creative approach for combating poverty.
One of our program offerings is the box making, or what we call the economic empowerment. We have seen it be very impactful to our young people.
That's tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. on Youth on the Move.
Welcome back to Man Up. Tonight we are talking about anger management, finding solutions, because if this anger is not managed, we have seen how it's ravaging families and our society. And so, gentlemen, managing this anger, we've talked about a bit about the therapy issue, but now, away from the therapy issues, are there things I can do as a man? If I realize I tend to have these outbursts, or maybe I'm the silent type, nanyamazaga tu. But I know on the inside, nasikia volcano, one day, simtu aseme ngwe. Those days you wake up and you just say, simtu leo anikasirishe. I need to release something. What can we do to manage this?
First of all, let me begin. I think I'll talk about the indoor, first of all, because there are things that we can do indoors, first of all. One thing that I've learned with men are always on the move. We are always on the next thing. You're always on the next thing. When you're in traffic, you're thinking of that next meeting, you think of that thing tomorrow, at home. And many men, even their minds don't sleep. And one thing that I've come to learn is that sleep is extremely important. And we normally undermine, but it's very key. So what I tell men is that, first of all, take time to have a moment of silence by yourself. And the moment of silence, take time in gratitude. The brain is very powerful. Yeah, the brain is very powerful. If I have things to be grateful for, then my brain records what? Victory.
Oh.
When my brain records victory, it will produce the right hormones for me just to feel that I'm actually doing well. So what I tell them is, sit just next to your bed. It's not a whole ceremony. Sit next to your bed. Sit on your bed. Take a moment. Take a deep breath. Slow down your breathing. When you slow down, just begin to think about the things you're grateful for. Things you're grateful for, I think that even didn't go wrong. For example, you didn't fall in the shower. It's a small thing, but yeah. Something that is very, very key, because when the mind can calm down and feel, today I have things to be grateful for, I won today, the men who have put this through exercise tend to sleep better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you now begin to sleep better. Because sleep to me is the first critical thing. If the mind can sleep, then the mind can reset tomorrow. If the mind doesn't sleep, then the mind feels like it's been going on.
Yes.
It's been going on. So the mind reaches that breaking point. So how do I let yesterday end? Yeah, and I move to a new day.
Yes.
Yeah, Then again, the same thing as well, because I'm saying this to eliminate the part whereby we are driven so much by what we hear. So I'm waiting for my wife to say, you're such a wonderful husband, you're a great man, you are everything.
Nah, say me.
So, even speaking happen,
yeah.
I just start by myself, and I like saying that's the first thing to do. That's the indoor, Then from there, I think now I can talk about the outdoor. Yeah.
I like the way he's put it.
Yeah.
Living life inside out.
Yes.
Because you can't give what you don't have. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And the way he's put it, I mean, there are many others which I would talk about, but I think when you talk about the outside, you're talking about now the environment, okay? Of which sometimes it's good to have philosophies like, one, there are things that are within your control, and there are those that are not.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like you're talking about Superman, Superwoman,
yes.
what Hulk and all that. We need to appreciate, even in those cartoons,
yes.
those guys, when they go back to their normal selves,
I'm telling you.
you can actually, they are normal individuals with normal challenges and different personalities.
Yeah.
Some very melancholic, some very shy, and so forth and so on. So when it comes to the environment, and do you understand your triggers?
Okay? I think that's very key.
The people, okay? People at work, maybe your boss could be a trigger, or your colleague at home, okay? And that's where now conflict resolution comes in, and maybe just going to your pastor to talk about the issues, or a family friend, or your best man and best maid to talk about those conflicts, okay? So situations, okay? Moments or memories.
Yes.
Anniversaries. One thing people underestimate is anniversaries are major triggers of even anger.
Really?
Yes, because they are stored in your memory. So let's say, for example, loss. And you see 2020, there are a lot of losses.
Oh, yes.
And 6 months later, 1 year later, you're really struggling with the grief issues.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, maybe you've gotten somewhere by being assisted and so forth and so on. And then on that month, when you incur the loss, you are totally off. You are irritable. What. It is important to connect that with possibly it's the anniversary. In my memory, it's stored, and now it's actually presenting itself in a manner that will actually definitely have an impact on people around me. Okay. So when we are aware of what is happening in the environment, then it makes a big difference. Okay. Another philosophy, being aware is being alive.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Concepts like mindfulness. Mindfulness happens to be a concept that helps you be in the present moment, being aware.
Living in the now.
In the now. And men will like this. In the military, those men who've gone to the military, who've served, you find that they talk about situation awareness. You know, you're always alert and aware of the situation.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And also, of course, looking back and looking at the events that have taken place in your life. Do you have a history of trauma? Do you have a history of depression? Do you have a history of anxiety? Do you have a history of incurring so many losses?
Yeah.
And how could this possibly be triggering your anger in the year now? And the last one, alcohol and drugs. One thing we need to appreciate, our society, like you were saying earlier in the previous episode, that we self-medicate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We tend to really self-medicate. And those things we are self-medicating, definitely one of them is the anger issues. Okay? And if we are able to be aware that hii substance kuna vile, because you know there are people who wakikunywa, their persona changes. They are smiling here.
They become a very different person.
It becomes a totally different person. Is it maybe time for you to reevaluate your relationship with substance or alcohol? Might you want to now cut down or even stop?
Or even stop,
Sometimes it's even better to stop.
Yeah.
Then perhaps things in your life, your relationships and everything might be much, much better.
Okay.
Yes. So those are the outside kind of factors.
I'm just wondering if physical activity helps, because I have a friend of mine who was telling me how he plays basketball. That is where he goes to release his aggression with other men on the pitch. And when he misses and he's very aggressive in the house, the wife usually says, my friend, see, you just take your basketball kit, upeleke hiyo hasira huko kwa court. And he says when he does that, he comes home a better man. So it's something, because they've realized it, they laugh about it and they make jokes about it. But he was telling me, Pasi, it actually helps me when I do that. And so I'm just wondering, does physical activity help?
In fact, I want even to broaden it a bit. Every man must have a hobby. And the hobby is not having a machoma. And alcohol in the afternoon. That's not a hobby. Yeah, you know, your hobby cannot be sitting in front of the TV.
Yes.
No. We have to look for things that stimulate us. You know, there are men who I know, for them maybe their hobby is just to sit and play poker. You know, and when I was young, I used to watch these movies of guys are sitting out and said Thursday's poker night.
Yeah,
I used to wonder why these guys play poker on a Thursday. What's wrong with these guys? There are other things to do, but men don't have hobbies, and the hobbies for men are one of the most responsible outlets for men. Because if we meet, let's say like this on a Thursday and say we are playing poker, when we are playing poker, we are talking about life. You know, we are talking about life, we're talking about life. At that point now, you know, I'm not a relationship coach, not a psychologist, you are not a pastor, we are just men.
We're just men.
Yeah, you know, that helps men process a lot. And what has happened with men is that because of the fear of poverty, you know, and the expectation of having, men have run away from just simple things like having hobbies, and their wives and their mothers have not encouraged them. Telling this guy, get something to do. You can't be in the house, you can't come from work, you're here, get something to do, look for a hobby, you know, do jogging, do whatever, you know. There are many things to pick up on, you know. I picked up boxing 2 years ago, and it's really helping me. I'll give a story of a client of mine in 2 minutes. This lady was walking out of her marriage. Literally, she was walking out of it because her husband loved hockey. And every weekend he was at hockey. Training people, doing whatever he was doing at hockey every weekend. And that kind of pulled them. She's like, why does he go for hockey? I need him here. I need him to train with me and spend time with me. And she's on the verge of walking away. I told her, have you tried going for hockey? Just to go for hockey? sit there.
Yeah.
Pretend to enjoy it. I told her, when he's done with that hockey, don't even interrupt him. Just sit there as long as it takes. When he's finished, this man will come back to you and he'll be so refreshed. He will talk to you the way he hasn't talked to you in 10 years. And so she said, okay, fine, Victor, I'll try. She went with the guy, joined him for hockey, sat at the stands, watched him. And the guy was walking around. Now he was louder than other days.
Yes.
You know, he's showing off. He's showing off. You know, he's shouting there.
Madam, you go area.
Yeah, you know. And he's saying hi to everyone, laughing aloud. And I just was patiently saying, I hope what Victor told me works.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they finished, and she got into the car with this man. I mean, Victor, my husband, talked. I saw expressions and emotions in him I thought were dead.
Wow.
He talked, we went home, we got into bed, he was talking. I slept, he was talking. He woke up, we made breakfast together. He was still talking. I never knew he had all these stories. And wives must know that men are most authentic in their hobbies. Ooh. If you want to find your husband, find him in his hobbies. That's when the real man is. You'll see the passion you're looking for, the emotion you're looking for. But when you're putting him in the house, you do this, I want you to sit here. Oh, he's getting irritated. But he's a good Christian. He has to
Gentlemen, I'm out of time. Parting shot, Lambert. Inaonekana hii weekend viwanja zitajaa, my friend. Watu wataenda hockey, wengine sijui wataenda wapi, but parting shot.
For sure, we've gone to school.
Yeah.
We've put in a lot of time and money. But also, I think where we are as a society, post-COVID, the numbers of people who are seeking for help because of also information, knowledge, has really skyrocketed. And I do believe and I hope that stakeholders, the government and other people are listening, because we who are actually in practice, we are actually trying our level best to ensure that we have even more and more men in treatment. We have more and more women supporting men in treatment. We have even more women coming with their men for couples therapy. Because like you were saying, many at times you find men shy away. Okay, why? If we open up and we just know where to hit, it's a matter of knowing where to hit, then everything else becomes very easy.
Victor, parting shot.
That notion that African men don't cry, they sweat. Tuachane nayo. As men, I mean, let's invest in ourselves. Let's invest in our well-being. You know, a man will go buy a shoe for 20,000 bob, you know, and say that I won't pay X amount of money for therapy. Let's invest in ourselves. You're the first resource you have. And you can't give what you don't have. So if I'm not okay as a man, how do I expect myself, the family, to stand? So let's take time and take care of ourselves.
Awesome. Victor and Lambert, asanteni sana. It's always an enlightening moment when I hang out with you guys. Thank you for what you're doing. Wanaume, tumemaliza. Today the parting shot is for the ladies. Go for hockey, my friend. Tag along with that man, go for hockey. Kama ni jamaa Volkswagen kama mimi, enda nae garage. You know, just be there. And if he doesn't have a hobby, encourage him. If he's forgotten his hobby like Mr. Okumu here, remind him, because it's a good way to help us release the stress and also hook up with other people and have conversations that really help. Have yourselves a great night. Until next week, God bless you.